Oh, hi there, wig lover. This is Heather from CysterWigs, and I know it's been a little while, long time no see, since I made content here for the CysterWigs 2 channel, and I figured we were overdue. So Henry Margu contacted me and they're like, hey, we got this new blonde. Would you like to review it? And I was like, yes, please. So they sent me this in Paige and what I'm currently wearing, which is Kendall. So I want to say thank you to the folks at Henry Margu for sending me these wigs so I could show them off to you. And please know that that makes this a, you guessed it, paid promotion because they sent these to me gratis. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to compare this color to a similar color from Raquel Welch, as well as a similar color from Renau. So even though this is a short and sweet color spotlight, it's going to be a little bit more comprehensive than what I typically do because I want to show you how these colors relate to each other so you can pick the one that's best for you. Thank God for swivel chairs because I'm arthritic. And, you know, some days this is harder than others. So this is how this looks on the back of Kendall, which is heavily layered. So you can really see all the highlights. I particularly think that this color, which is definitely cool and ashy, it looks really spectacular from the sides. I love, and I'm gonna comb this down the sides just a little bit and kind of smush it because I want you to see how the highlighting is placed. Does it remind you of anything? This really beautiful concentration of light ashy platinum in the front and the subtle distribution of that same ashy platinum all throughout over a base of a light sandy ash brown color. Does it remind you perhaps of this? Just a smidge perhaps. Let me go ahead and turn to the side and I'll show you this wig from the side. It may look familiar, may not, but the color may look familiar to some of you. If you guessed that this was the shaded Biscuit by Raquel Welch, ding, 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 you're a winner of being right. Congrats. That is an excellent prize. But I think that this is basically the non-heat friendly answer to Shaded Biscuit. Shaded Biscuit by Raquel Welch, color code RL1923SS, and its sister color, the RL1923 unrooted version, so just Biscuit as opposed to the Shaded Biscuit. This is a heat-friendly only color. It's part of the True to Life fiber line from Raquel Welch, and this is on a ready for takeoff. And this color is only available on heat-friendly wigs. Heat-friendly fibers and non-heat-friendly fibers, and I swear this has a point, they take to the pigment differently. So even if you're using the exact same dye, like number 19 dye on both kinds of fibers, they're gonna look different depending on what kind of material you're actually applying that dye to. So in the case of a heat-friendly fiber, the colors generally will pull a little bit redder. You can kind of see that a little bit, can't you? They'll pull a little bit redder and they're not generally as vibrant as the colors that you will get on the non-heat friendly fiber. It's part of the reason why when I make Jeweled Peacock with the BelleTress line, I make it in a traditional Canical Lawn synthetic fiber because it's very, very vibrant in a regular non-heat friendly synthetic compared to its heat friendly doppelganger. Likewise, when I want to make a subdued pastel purple color, I go heat friendly because it pulls to the color differently, if that makes sense. The more you know. Ba-da-ba-ba. So I think this is exactly Shaded Biscuit. It's just they had to use different dye colors to get there because of the medium. I also shot this outside so you could take a close look at what this particular color looks like in sunlight. If anything, I think that whether you're looking at it in the Paige or on the Kendall, and whether or not the light is direct or not, you can still see how ashy this color is. And I will dissect the color in just a moment. I just want to get these comparisons out of the way because if you're familiar with these existing hair colors, You probably won't need to watch much more, but I hope you will, so I can get credit in the YouTube algorithm by you watching the whole thing. So please stay with me. Honorable mention goes to the Butterbeer Blonde color from the BelleTress line, even though it's not in the rest of this video. And you might be wondering why I didn't include it. I thought it'd be redundant because Butterbeer Blonde is a direct copy of the shaded Biscuit from Raquel Welch. They're identical. They are almost completely indecipherable from one another. I'm not going to put Butterbeer Blonde in the mix, but I wanted to show it to you now just so you could kind of get an idea of how this fits into that configuration. Whatever I say about the shaded Biscuit color also applies to Butterbeer Blonde. And by the way, just as a little note of courtesy, if you watch this video or any of my videos and it teaches you something about wigs or this industry that you then use to make content on your own YouTube channel, please credit this information back to me, i.e. let people know you learned it from me, instead of just trying to pass it off as if you already knew. That would help my channel substantially, and it would make me view you as a good guy. I also want to show you one more color for comparison that is also not heat friendly, because same thing, they wanted to approximate shaded Biscuit because shaded Biscuit is one of the most popular wig colors in the world. So every brand that has any sense about them is going to try to come up with a version of it. The problem is if they don't make non-heat friendly wigs, how do you modify the dye coloration to get it close to where you're trying to go? This color that I'm currently holding on to, another rooted ashy blonde color that has kind of like a light ash brown in the base with the platinum on top and has some subtle rooting. The rooting on this arguably more subtle than either of the other two colors, because I would say on this one it's kind of a medium brown. So on the 10613GR Henry Margu, the one this video is about, kind of like a medium brown. And on the shaded Biscuit, definitely it's kind of like a medium brown there as well. This is not. This is definitely kind of like a light, or I would say like a dark ash blonde color. Another brand's attempt to accomplish the exact same thing. Can you guess what it is? This is the Palm Springs Blonde by Renau on their Parker wig. Very similar, and they're trying to accomplish the same thing, which is how can we approximate the very popular color that is in this heat-friendly fiber and a non-heat-friendly fiber. I would say between the Renau version, the Palm Springs Blonde, and this Henry Margu version, which is the 10613GR, I would say that this is a much more direct version. Like it is almost a carbon copy of the shaded Biscuit, except it's ashier. This is an ashier color, ever so slightly. And you can probably see that, again, when I hold them up next to each other, you can see that those heat-friendly fibers take to the dye a little bit redder, particularly here at the nape where more of that light brown is. So this is an ashier color, a more platinum color than even the shaded Biscuit. If that's what your holy grail has been this whole time, come get it, girl. You can get it at CysterWigs.com. Ding, ding, ding. But I got it, and we can make that happen for you. But anyway, this Palm Springs Blonde is definitely very similar, but it's obvious that Renau put the Renau spin on it. Namely, they root the front hairline of all their colors. It's a stylistic choice that they do intentionally to differentiate themselves from what brands like Raquel Welch and frankly what now Henry Margu is doing. And BelleTress also has moved to not rooting their front hairline. So Renau chooses, I have to assume, to keep rooting the front hairline as a stylistic choice. And in this case, it really differentiates the Palm Springs Blonde from something like this or the shaded Biscuit. Also, this doesn't have necessarily a light brown base. It's kind of like on the cusp between a light brown and a dark ash blonde when you're trying to select the right ashy blonde blend for yourself. So I really like this color. I think it's really accessible. I'm not really wearing any makeup. I've got a little bit of concealer on my nose because zits happen. But aside from that, I'm not wearing any mascara or anything like that. I didn't even curl my lashes. The shock, the horror. But I think that regardless of how much makeup I may or may not be wearing, this color still kind of works, which is something I usually don't experience with these ashy blonde colors. I usually struggle a lot to pull them off because they just wash me out something dreadful. But I think that that slightly darker root and how dynamic this is, and the fact that even though it's ashy, it's not too blue. You know, it doesn't pull gray. This is not a gray blonde. And I think because it doesn't cross that line, this is a really, really nice color. Even my husband likes this color, and Nigel typically only likes it when I wear really dark color. So the fact that he's saying something nice about a light color that is ashy, I think that really says something. I want to show you what the Palm Springs blonde in particular looks like on. And all of these wigs, by the way, are part of my personal collection. So do not wear wigs that you don't plan to keep or don't know if you want to keep without a wig cap on. I'm doing that in this video because these are all mine. I'm keeping them. So don't have to worry about anybody else smelling my scalp. The only one who's smelling it is me. Ew. The truth is so gross sometimes. So you can see the difference. This is an ashier color, you know, because the 10 that is the base shade on this 10613 GR by Henry Margu, as well as the 19 that is the base of the shaded Biscuit here in my hand, and I'm ready for takeoff by Raquel Welch, has gold in it. It has a little bit of warmth, just a tiny, tiny little bit. Arguably slightly more for the shaded Biscuit for reasons I mentioned earlier. But my goodness, there's like no warmth at all to this Palm Springs blonde. It is ashy, 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 and this is a color I struggle with without makeup, because this is one of those colors that I feel like was made to be an alternative to a gray, and is a great sort of gray blonde for women who like that look because it's edgy, or who like that look because they're not ready to commit to going gray yet, but they need the gray. They need something soft and ashy, or else it'll clash with their skin tone. If you're in this boat and this color works really well for you and the shaded Biscuit does not, then I'm afraid to inform you that the 10613 GR will probably be similarly a bad fit. But if you struggle with this color and the shaded Biscuit works for you, you're in great shape with this 10613 GR, because it's almost a direct carbon copy. If anything, I think this is slightly cooler. I think that it is a very beautiful, accessible color. And one thing that I want to point out about all three of these colors is that none of them are platinum. Not any of these colors, not one of them, none of them. And I see people in forums, I see other influencers refer to these as platinum blondes. They are not platinum blondes. They have platinum blonde in them. It is a predominant part of the blend. But if you call this a platinum blonde, you're gonna be misleading people, because particularly if you look at the back of this color, you can see a lot of that light brown poking through. That's actually the base shade. Same thing here with the shaded Biscuit. I'm gonna show you the back of this ready for takeoff. That is not platinum, is it? Yeah. Now in a slightly longer wig, some of those highlights on top will kind of cover this up and it'll look a little bit lighter, a little bit more platinum, but it is not a platinum blonde. And in fact, I think that's a good thing. I think this is easier to wear, and it looks, both of these look like a salon color compared to just like a platinum blonde. I would say the only one that's even close to being even close to a true platinum would be something like the Palm Springs blonde, but even it is much, much darker than a traditional platinum would be. It's just really, really cool, but it's still kind of a medium blonde color. It just happens to have platinum in it, right? So that's my public service announcement and a half for this particular video. This is usually about the time people tune out. All right, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon. And until next time, have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.